In this video, we're going to go over some common good things and bad things in Freewrite, so you guys know if you're on the right track with the previous part or you're not on the right track. Also, if you want to actually submit something you've written, I'd be happy to look at it and let you know how it's looking if you need to work on something. So either you can message me privately, or you better yet share it with folks in the comments, and we could take a look at what you've written. All right, so this is a common feature of a good Freewrite. Some common features, which is it feels really random. So like, let's say you've been writing for 5 to 10 minutes, you might have a page and a half, up to let's say 2 pages written, because you're writing fairly quickly. So it's gonna feel pretty random, like you're all over the place. It almost looks like a crazy person wrote it. And if that's the case, that's great. There's crazy jumps, so you're going from like a, you were talking about the sun on one line, and then the yellow color made you think of chickens for some reason, and then that led to some other ideas. So you're just jumping all over the place, which is good because you're just letting your creativity and your thoughts flow. Another thing, there's frenzied writing. So if I'm physically looking at you writing this, it should be like really quick, really fast. It shouldn't be, well, we'll see in a second what it shouldn't be. So the writing should look and feel a little bit frenzied, with one idea flowing. Here's the key word, flowing into the next. So if you're creative, then you're in a state of flow, which means you're not worried about what happens. One idea leads to another, it flows into another just like water. All right, so these are some signs of a good Freewrite. These are some common issues. So in fact, like, very few people that I've seen have never had one of these issues. So in the beginning, you might have one or more of these issues. So see if you could spot this. So if you physically stop writing during those 5 to 10 minutes, so let's say you were writing super fast and then you were like, what's going on? That means for a second, you didn't know what to write. Remember, when you're doing free writing, anything is fair game. So the fact that you stopped means that the critical side of your brain, the judgmental side, said, oh, whatever I was going to write is not good enough, or like there's a judgment going on. So the fact that you stop, you're like, I need to come up with something good enough. So the fact that if you're thinking in terms of good and bad, you're activating your critical side. So if you have to stop, that's a common issue that you haven't mastered this exercise. So you should be able to not physically stop. And this could be a matter of like you physically stopped, or you hesitated for a split second, or you had to look up in the air. Anything that involves stopping at all. So that's a really common one. All right, next one, and this is a habit from normal writing and editing. You might be doing your free writing and then you cross something out. It might have been something little, like you forgot to put a comma, or you decided you didn't want a comma. It might have been a grammar issue. If you're thinking about grammar, this is that critical side. Remember, we don't care if you make mistakes. So it's totally, I'd rather this flow completely have more mistakes than this be polished. So don't worry if it comes out a little sloppier than your normal writing. If you didn't put a period, it's a run-on sentence. Anything is fair game. Do not stop writing. Just flow with your ideas. So that's another thing to watch out for if you're crossing stuff out. Finally, not finally, but another one. Your writing makes too much sense. So for those of you where the critical side is super, super developed and you're really having trouble activating the creative side, you feel a little nervous about writing garbage and just flowing with your ideas. So you're going to try to stick to a story. So let's say we started in the previous video about the sun is a hot place. And if after 5 to 10 minutes of writing, you're still telling me about the sun being a hot place, or let's say you're still on the solar system or something very related to the sun, if you haven't veered off topic and done some of these crazy jumps, in other words, your story makes too much sense, it's almost like one story, then you're missing the point of the assignment. You're not allowing yourself to flow. All right, so you do not want, surprisingly for this exercise, which is why I love it so much, it's really fun, you do not want it to make too much sense. Don't go out of your way not to make too much sense, but this is just a symptom that you're not doing it right. Finally, this is a little bit of a tricky one. Some students are able to do what feels like a free write at first, but is in fact just a laundry list. So this just might be a laundry list of, let's say, autobiographical facts. So they may say, my name is Bob, I like to swim, I don't like cheese doodles, I like ketchup, I like to go outside at 3 p.m. He likes this. I don't like that. Tomorrow I'm doing this. So you're not flowing with ideas. You're literally giving me a laundry list of things about you or things you're going to do or things someone else is going to do. So there's very little flow between your sentences and there's no transition. So transitions would be things such as, the sun is a hot place. However, so that word however, I don't like hot places because you can get burnt easily. If you get burnt easily, you might have to go to the ER. And if you go to the ER, you might rack up a bill. And if you rack whatever. So if you have none of this and it just feels like a laundry list, that's another issue. Finally, if you're writing too slowly, this is like a little bit of a cheat. So you might feel like, hey, if I write fast, I don't know what to write. I can't think of stuff. That's the entire idea. If you write fast enough, it doesn't give you that crutch about what's good or bad. You cannot be critical. So anything is fine. There's no right or wrong answer. So whatever you write, writing fast it forces you not to judge what you're writing. Whereas if you're writing too slowly, it gives you a little more time to think. So we do not want you to think. This is more of a listening exercise than a sort of thinking exercise. So if you're creative, you're just listening to your ideas. So these are key words here, flowing and listening. Finally, if your hand is cramping too early. So I get it. If you write super fast for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, your hand might start to cramp. But if you've been writing for like a minute or two and your hand is already really tired, first of all, you might be holding your pen or pencil really tightly. But another thing, physical tension usually indicates mental tension and other tension. So you should be able to do this. Like, yes, your hand will get a little tired, but you should be able to write for 10 to 15 minutes non-stop without your hand completely dying on you. So pay attention if you find your hand really cramping, because that might indicate you're not breathing, you're not doing a lot of other stuff, and this critical side is like, oh gosh, I gotta write really fast or else I'm not flowing and not free writing. Okay, so it should feel like a fun, relaxed, flowing exercise, almost like a meditation. So you might find if you do this a few times back to back, you get more and more into it, and the longer you do it, so let's say if you do this for 10 to 15 minutes, like halfway through and later, it'll be easier to get into it. So if you've only been trying this for like, let's say 3 minutes, try extending the time. The first few minutes might be really bad, but then you'll slowly get into it and gradually just start writing and not worrying about what you're writing. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.